Excuse me, mate.
Yes.
I'd watch that kid out there if I were you.
Eh?
Hey!
Hurry up, Gareth.
See you, Jack.
Where you got that from, Mr. Vernon?
From somebody who should have known better than play me a poker, David, and ended up having to walk home.
What are you going to do? You're going to flog it?
Flog it? David, what you are looking at here is just the first of many. In years to come, people will say, do you know he started out with just one, and look at him now, the proud owner of Yorkshire's biggest taxi firm.
All right.
You've got a proper driving licence, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Is it clean?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's cleanish.
You come from round here originally, Mrs. Fairley?
Oh, about 1,000 years ago, before I went to London to seek my fortune.
Well, did you find it?
Would I have moved back here, do you think, if I had?
Right. Yeah, there you go then, love. All yours.
Thanks.
Now, you do know it's a party line, don't you?
Which means I'll be sharing.
That's right, with the people just down the lane.
Right, thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. My grandmother would never use a telephone, in case she got electrocuted.
David, when your grandmother was around, they were still sending Christmas cards by carrier pigeon. Well, go on. Ring somebody.
Oh, like who?
Well, you must know somebody with a telephone. Well, if all else fails, use the speaking clock.
Speaking clock?
Never mind. I'll ring somebody.
Who are you going to call?
Well, Bernard for a start. Give him the number. Hang on, there's somebody on this line.
Oh, yeah, that'll be the lady from down the lane. Yeah, she was on early when I picked it up.
Was she? Well, I hope she's not planning on making a habit of it. We're going to need this line to take all our bookings.
Phil, I'm sorry, but I really don't see the point, honest.
You said you'd sleep on it.
And I have, but I still don't feel any different. All right, you can spare us the Morse code. We do speak English round here, you know.
2 pints of bitter love and a vodka and orange.
And how old are you?
Old enough. Would you rather come out the back and I'll prove it to you?
I'm not quite old enough. Not for another 6 months at least. So to avoid further disappointment, I suggest you just leave.
And if I don't?
You heard him up it.
And who are you? Wyatt Earp?
Yeah, that's right. And this is my tin star. Now, I've asked you nicely, but if you want to do things the hard way, we will. Doesn't bother me. Go on.
Thanks, Phil.
You're out.
What do you want, Jack?
Come to read the meter, haven't I? So, where is she?
Who?
Rita Rayworth, of course. Who else?
I don't know.
I don't believe you.
Look, all I've got's a telephone number.
So give it to me. Where the ex-Aidensfield?
Well, how would I know?
Told you we wouldn't get served.
So, you got it right for once. First time for everything, eh, Gail?
Could have served us, though. That stinking landlord.
Don't worry, Gail, love. You'll be sorry. No one does that to me and gets away with it.
Morning, Mr. Blackton.
Morning, Billy. Sleep in again, did ya?
Good morning, dear brother.
You reckon?
What have you done to your hand?
Car door.
Could have been worse, could have been a coffin lid.
It's not funny, Vernon. They're extremely painful and also very inconvenient.
Oh, I can see that. A one-armed mechanic is about as much use as two men off sick. Come outside. I've got something to show you. Ta-da!
Where'd you get this old banger from?
Old banger? This is a 1950 Vauxhall Wyvern with column change and independent front suspension.
Not to mention 6 inches of rust and a clapped-out clutch, I'll bet.
Bernard, this car is destined to become the queen of our fleet.
Our fleet?
Of taxis. Let me ask you a question, Bernard. How are all the world's great fortunes made?
Usually by robbing banks, in my experience.
By identifying a gap in the market and filling it. And I have identified such a gap around here. A crying need for a decent taxi service. A need that we are about to start addressing.
You might be, I'm not. I'm making a perfectly good living burying people, not ferrying them about, thanks very much.
Well, have a look underneath it for me.
Yeah, well, I don't mind doing that, I suppose.
So you're not interested in becoming a partner, like?
Not particularly.
You know your trouble, Bernard? You've got no imagination.
You need more than imagination to make any money out of that at 2 miles to the gallon.
So, one way or another, you ended up with more than your spirits being dampened, eh?
If that's what passes for wit these days, Ventress, I don't think it's appropriate.
Sorry, Sarge.
Yeah, not as sorry as I am. The upholstery in my car is completely ruined. And the carpet.
Yeah, but who'd want to put a stunt like that?
Well, I did have one thought. Do you remember those kids we had trouble with in the bar last night, Bellamy?
You think they might have done it?
Well, that particular kid has been in trouble ever since his mother died.
You know him?
Oh, aye. And his father. Harry North, Alf.
The second-hand car dealer?
Hmm. And young Gareth is his only son, and a right little so-and-so he is and all. He seems to think that because his dad is worth a bob or two, all he has to do is snap his fingers and the world will come running.
Not the type who'll take kindly to being refused a drink, then?
Hardly.
Well, it's certainly worth looking into. Bradley, Bellamy?
After last night, it'd be a pleasure.
Morning, madam. Can I help you?
My name's Bateson, Mrs. that is, Mrs. Bateson, and I've come to arrange my husband's funeral.
Oh, I see. On behalf of the firm, if I could offer heartiest condolences.
Thank you. Now, we want a nice coffin for him.
Of course. I've got some brochures here. If you'd like to take them with you and have a look.
Oh, no, that won't be necessary. Sydney! Ah. Now, you go over there, dear, And choose something suitable, and I'll make the arrangements with Mr. Scripps here.
Yes, dear.
Just the one car. I think most of our friends already having passed over, you see.
Right. Although I can't help noticing that Mr. Bateson hasn't yet...
Well, one has to be prepared.
Well, you've had some bad news then, have you?
It was in the leaves, you see.
The leaves.
The tea leaves.
Ah.
Now then, dear, what have you found for yourself? What about this one?
Gareth North.
Aye, that's me.
PC Mike Bradley, Aidensfield Police. You've met PC Bellamy here, I believe. Where were you last night, Gareth, after you left the Aidensfield Arms?
At home with my girlfriend in my bedroom.
With you all night, was she?
I've left my side, officer.
Some sort of problem, isn't it?
Someone vandalised Oscar Blaketon's car outside the Aidensfield Arms last night. We've reason to believe your son might know something about it.
Oh, aye? And why is that?
Well, he was in the pub earlier and was asked to leave.
And did he leave?
Well, yes, after giving me some lip.
So because he refused to drink, you think he came back later and did this car over?
No, we're just trying to ascertain his whereabouts at the time, that's all, Mr. North.
And have you?
For now, yes.
Well, that's that then. Will there be anything else?
I don't think so.
In that case, I'll bid you good day, gentlemen. Do you know aught about it?
Of course not. Mind you, I heard what happened.
No?
Someone filled his car with water.
What?
Right up to the windows.
Just stay out of public houses in future, all right?
Yes, Dad.
So Harry sent you off for the flea in your ear, did he?
Oh, you know him?
Yeah, he's a client of mine.
Yeah, what's he like?
Well, he's straight as a die, really. For a second-hand car salesman, anyway. Actually, I feel quite sorry for him.
Oh, how come?
Well, you know his wife was killed in a car crash a few years ago.
Yes, I heard.
Well, Harry's always blamed himself for what happened, since he was driving at the time.
Was there any reason to?
No, he hadn't been drinking. And there's not a lot you can do when one of your front tyres goes at 70 miles an hour. I think he felt most guilty about the fact that he came out of it without so much as a scratch himself. Since when, of course, he's devoted his entire life to young Gareth.
Well, that explains a lot, I'd say.
Oh?
Well, not least why the boy's spoiled rotten.
You think it was definitely Gareth who did it?
Well, Phil seems to think so.
Yeah, well, from what you've told me, Phil isn't exactly in a particularly well-balanced state of mind just at present.
Well, well, if it isn't the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Come again?
I had a booking for you. Take this bloke to the airport, and he had to hand it over to somebody else.
Well, why didn't you ring us?
Because you've been engaged all the time. You're never off that phone of yours.
Problem being, getting on the flaming thing.
Hello?
David, you're going to have to go round and have a word with her.
Oh, me, Mr. Vernon.
And explain to her the reason they call it a party line is because two parties use it. And if she wouldn't mind, this party would like to have a go, occasionally.
Well, wouldn't it be better if you went and had a word with her?
The line's in your name, David. Go on, off you go.
What, now?
David, for all we know, Bernard might be trying to get through to us, putting work our way. Only he can't because she's yakking away as usual.
All right, then.
Excuse me, darling. You wouldn't happen to know that lady, would you?
Never seen her in here, I'm afraid.
Only I've been abroad for a while and never was strong on the old keeping in touch. In fact, when I got back to London recently and tried to look a few people up, I found most of them were dead.
What a shame.
All except my sister Edith, who I was told had moved up here.
Well, I'm sorry I can't help you. But Mr. Blaketon might be able to.
Mr. Blaketon?
Yeah, he's the owner of this place. He goes back a lot further than I do.
Is he around?
No, but he will be later.
In that case, I better have another one, hadn't I?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. I'm David. From down the road at Mr. Greengrass's place.
Oh, I see. Perfect timing, then.
Pardon?
I've just made a fresh pot of tea, so you better come in, hadn't you? Seeing as you're the first human face I've seen all day. So, we're neighbours.
It would seem so, yes.
I don't know a soul locally, I'm afraid. In fact, thank heavens for the phone, that's what I say. If it wasn't for that, I should probably be talking to the wallpaper by now. In fact, we share the same line, don't we?
I think we do, aye.
Oh, dear. Hope I haven't been hogging it. Only when I get started, I don't half go on.
No, of course not, no.
You sure about that?
Positive, yeah.
Another slice?
I wouldn't say no. Thank you. No. You feel free to use that telephone as much as you like, Mrs. Fairley. Well, to be honest, we don't use it that much.
Oh, well, that's all right. And it's Edith, please.
Well, have you tried directory inquiries?
Ah, they won't give you addresses if all you've got is the number.
Well, why don't you just ring her up?
Well, that would spoil the surprise, wouldn't it? I want to see the look on her face when she opens the door and sees me standing there.
Right, well, I'll make some inquiries locally and get back to you.
I appreciate that.
Well, you saw her?
Oh, aye.
And?
Well, I think she could tell straight away that I wasn't going to take any nonsense. Yeah, well, I've left her nothing short, I can assure you, Mr. Vernon.
I'm glad to hear it, David. Very glad.
Right, the woman's name is Edith Fairley.
I'll get on to it first thing in the morning. All right?
Right, thanks. Oh, there's just one thing that's been bugging me. It struck me as odd that he wouldn't just ring her up himself.
Well, maybe he wanted to surprise her.
That's what he said.
Well, do you want me to find out or not?
Oh, yes, of course I do.
Well, I'll call you tomorrow.
Right. Thanks, Alf.
Are you sure about this, Gareth? Don't you worry. You just keep the engine running.
Give me the bag. Wait.
Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Oh, on that day.
It's out there, right?
Where you gonna run to? Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? see you run from the light. Satan's gonna see you run from the light. Satan's gonna see you all on that day.
Now go back!
Don't make a sound, the devil's gonna hear you. Don't make a sound, the devil's gonna hear you. Don't make a sound, the devil's gonna hear you all on that day. Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to?
Go, go!
Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? All on that day.
Edensfield Police. And when was this, sir? Okay, I'm on my way. Harry North.
Uh-huh.
His son's car's just been stolen.
Is your son in, Mr. North?
He certainly is.
Could we have a word with him, please?
Joined the party.
You were quick off the mark.
I called him.
Oh?
To report his son's car had been stolen.
What?
You have some sort of problem with that, Constable?
Your son's car was involved in an attempted armed robbery.
Presumably what it was stolen for.
Mr. North, the lad I saw getting away in the car was your son's age and build.
Are you saying it was him?
I couldn't definitely say who it was. He was wearing a mask at the time.
What time was this, Phil?
About 6 o'clock this evening.
And you called me to report the car had been stolen at about 7, Mr. North.
Gareth had only just told me about it.
I only just realised it had been nicked.
Where were you at 6 o'clock this evening, Gareth?
Out in town.
Doing what exactly?
Just messing about with my mates.
And can anyone corroborate that?
Ah, yeah, my mates can. Gail Smethurst and Vince Mitchell.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of kids their age in the car when he drove off.
But you couldn't positively identify them, right, Constable?
No, sir. I only glimpsed them as he drove away.
So, you have a kid in a mask you think was my son, but you couldn't swear to it. And you have a couple of teenagers you think might have been his mates, but you couldn't swear to that either. I think it's time we have my solicitor in on this.
I don't think that'll be necessary, Mr. North. Come on, men, let's go. Good night, sir.
Has to be him, Mike.
Yeah, but can you prove it?
So what about my stolen car, then?
Well, you could try looking for it where you dumped it, I suppose.
I heard you had a bust-up with that girl at the pub. But I suppose in her business, she don't really want a copper hanging about.
Phil, leave it.
I tell you, Mike, I'm having him if it's the last thing I'd do.
Hello, Mrs. Bateson.
Sidney passed away last night.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He went very peacefully. He's just gone on ahead, that's all. At least that's the way I like to think of it.
I'm sure.
I'd like him put in the chapel of rest, if that's convenient.
Yes, of course it is.
But I'll need to lay him out first. He made me promise I wouldn't let anyone else see him but me. He's a very private man that way.
Right.
So, I'll be in touch just as soon as it's convenient to collect him.
Here, Gareth.
Let's go, shall we?
Here we go, David. Our first client, and not before time. Vernon's Versatile Vehicles.
At last, what's going on?
What do you mean?
I've been trying to ring you for the last hour. You've been engaged again all the time.
Have you really? Well, what do you want, Bernard?
And just to get you to keep an eye on the garage tomorrow, I've got to go to Leeds.
Drop the keys off on your way home. Bye. So, we left her nothing short, did we? Made it clear we were going to stand no more nonsense.
Here, that flaming copper's here. Hello again.
Oh, just leave it, will ya?
So why don't you dance with me?
I've told you, I don't want to, okay?
Is he bothering you?
No. In fact, he was just leaving, weren't you?
Oh, hello, Mr. North.
Is your wife in?
In the bath, actually. Anything I can do?
I don't think so. In fact, I'd say you coppers have done quite enough for one night. Thanks.
I never touched him, Sarge.
But you admit being in the vicinity at the time of the assault.
I'd been in the coffee bar earlier, yes.
I'd have thought a pint of bitter in the Edensfield Arms was more your scene, Bellamy.
I just fancied a coffee, Sarge.
And he just happened to be there. Just as he just happened to be in the disco last night. Also, he has two witnesses who are willing to swear that you lay in wait for him outside and then laid into him.
They're lying, Sarge.
Well, whatever the truth of the matter, Bellamy, you're suspended from duty until such time as these allegations are fully investigated.
I still can't believe Phil beat up that kid.
Well, Gareth North's adamant he did.
Oh, well, that was a surprise.
Well, he also has two witnesses, Mike. And you said yourself you had to practically drag Phil off the boy only yesterday. I'm sorry, but from where I'm standing, things are looking pretty bleak for Phil.
Look, Phil. Just tell me one thing. Did you hit him or didn't you?
Do you think I did?
I'm asking you.
Well, I certainly felt like belting him, yes. But no, Mike. I didn't hit him.
Right.
Is the governor in?
I'm afraid he's not now.
Ah, did he manage to get that address for me?
I think he did get a call about it, yeah. Mrs. Edith Fairley, right?
That's the lady. Thanks, darling. Tell Mr. Blake then I'll see him all right for it.
Okay. Ta-ra.
Sarge, you don't really believe Phil struck that kid, do you?
For the record, Bradley, no, I don't. But at the end of the day, it's not down to what I believe or don't believe, is it? The complaint has been made, and it has to be passed on to our lords and masters. So, I want the two of you to do a little bit of digging, all right? I want you to find out something, anything, that could render such action unnecessary.
Right, Sarge.
Right, David, you get started on it. I'm just going to pop into Ashfordley and put an ad in the local rag.
Right, Mr. Vernon.
And if there's any job you can't handle, just give me a ring at home later.
Yeah, all right.
Hello?
Is Mr. Scripps there, please?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you just missed him.
It's Mrs. Bateson. I'm just ringing to say my husband is all ready to be picked up whenever you are.
Oh, right, OK, OK, what was your name again?
Bateson.
Downtown for 2-4, come in.
Yes, Sarge? Right, Sarge. They found the car.
Where?
Near Alderley Bridge.
Any luck, Alf?
No, nothing here. Mike?
Well, if they've thrown the mask in the water, Alf, they've probably done the same with the pistol. Alf? Bingo.
What do you mean you gave it to him?
Well, yeah. Why shouldn't I have done?
Well, I'd rather you left it to me. Oh, well, what's done is done. Doesn't really matter, I suppose.
Ashfordley Police. Oh, hello, Oscar.
Oh, hello. Come in, will you? He's through there. You will be able to manage him, will you? On your own?
Oh, yeah, I should think so, yeah. I think there's been some sort of misunderstanding, Mrs. Bateson.
No misunderstanding. I arranged it all with Mr. Scripps only yesterday.
Yeah, but what I mean to... Well, I'm going to have to do... I really have to go and wait for Mr. Scripps.
But I want him moving straight away. I thought I'd be all right last night on my own with him, but I didn't sleep a wink. And I'm afraid I can't stay here any longer. I'm sorry, but I just can't.
But he's the... I mean, but he's all...
You have to help me!
Pardon?
He'll kill me! I know he will!
Ashfordley Police. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll tell him. Well, there were dabs on that pistol, 2 different sets. That's the good news.
And the bad news?
There's no way that either set could be used as evidence.
And there are definitely two sets?
That's right.
So this bloke was your husband?
Ex-husband, actually. I divorced him the year he was sent down.
Sent down?
For 15. For robbery with violence. Only he got out recently and now he's come looking for me.
So why don't we just tell the local fuzz and let them deal with it?
Oh, no, we can't involve the police.
Why not?
Well, it's the money, you see.
Money?
From the robbery. I'm supposed to be holding it for him.
Must have been some job if he got 15 years.
Oh, it was. £25,000.
Hello, Vince.
Oh. Hello.
Where's your mate?
How should I know?
Do you hear we found a pistol?
Pistol?
The starting pistol used in the attempted robbery. Turned up in the stream near where the car was abandoned.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Of course not. Only fingerprints never lie. You wouldn't by any chance have handled the pistol yourself, would you, Vince? It's just that there were two sets of prints on it, you see.
I just told you. I know nothing about any stupid pistol.
Just Gareth, was it, Vince? Not that that would put you in the clear, of course.
How do you mean?
There is such a thing as being an accessory before and after the fact. But if you came clean, voluntarily, of course, well, it could help a lot. And of course, armed robbery is the sort of crime you go down for. Ah, Gareth. We were just talking about you. Weren't we, Vince?
So this ex-husband of yours, big fella, is he?
Not as big as you, and a lot older, of course.
Not likely to be armed, is he?
Oh, no, he never held with guns, didn't Jack? Except when he was actually working.
So, if I had a word with him for you, what's in it for me?
30% of what's left.
Make it 60% and I'd be interested.
How about 50-50?
Why not? Let's not be greedy.
Have you got a minute, Mr. Vernon?
I suppose there's some perfectly rational explanation for this, is there, David?
I'm really sorry about everything, Mr. Vernon.
Don't worry about that, David. This is more important. Just remember what I told you.
All right, Mr. Vernon.
Mr. Fairley, I presume.
It's the Encyclopedia Britannica you're flogging. I've read it.
Very droll, Mr. Fairley. Only our information is you've got problems. One, an ex-wife called Edith. And two, certain monies of yours that she's legged it with. Problems, Mr. Fairley, that me and my colleague back there might just be able to help you with.
So, where is she?
Somewhere handy.
Handy for what?
Well, that depends entirely on you, Mr. Fairley. You see, in return for half the money she nicked from you, she's asked us to deal with you for her.
Oh, is she?
Well, me and my friend out there find the idea of a wife ripping off her husband when he's banged up a little bit distasteful. In a nutshell, Mr. Fairley, we don't think she should be allowed to get away with it.
So show me where you've got her and she won't.
Let me show you something, Mr. Fairley.
I take it he's
gone to a better place. Whereas his good lady, of course, has only gone as far as Spain, courtesy of the insurance money. And what can be done for one can be done for another. In other words, why sully your own fair hands when my friend here is ready, willing and able to sully his on your behalf? At our usual rates, of course.
Now, just a minute. All I was on about was giving her a good hiding, not topping her.
Oh dear, oh dear. I think we've been seriously misinformed.
What do you mean, oh dear, oh dear?
Well, we've got a nice little business going here. You'd be amazed at how many people seek out our services. But if people got to know about it, who didn't have a vested interest in keeping it quiet, went to the Sunday newspapers, or worse...
I wouldn't do that. I mean, dog does not eat dog, right?
All the ones I know do.
Now, look.
Hello, Mr. Ventris.
David. Everything all right, then?
Just passing the time of day with our good friend Jack here.
You're Jack Fairley.
How would you know?
Oh, there's not a sparrow falls that we don't hear at Ashfordley, Nick. Find your sister, then.
Oh, our Edith, you mean? Oh, I did, thanks, yeah.
She inside?
Gone shopping, she told us. Why is it you want to see her? Only as her next-door neighbours, we're happy to take any messages.
I just thought I'd come round and see if she was all right.
No worries there, Mr. Ventris. We'll take care of her.
I'll leave you to it, then. If you've got any problems, you know where to find me.
Of course.
Blimey. I thought it was only the Met boys were on the take.
So we can't interest you in our offer, Mr. Fairley?
Keep your offer. I'm out of here.
Can we offer you a lift to the station?
No. Thanks.
Done.
Smashing. Can I have a word, please, Mr. North?
Well?
My wife tells me you still intend pressing charges against P.C. Bellamy.
Oh, I want to be. Just because my son were caught doing something stupid don't give you lot right to go dishing out good hidings.
I don't believe for a minute that Phil Bellamy ever touched your son, Mr. North. He's not that kind of copper.
You would say that, wouldn't you, being a mate of his?
No, I'm just trying to tell you the truth as I see it. Not because he's a mate.
Why should I take your word against my own flesh and blood?
Because thanks to Vince, we know that your own flesh and blood lied to you about the attempted robbery, vandalising Oscar Blaketon's car and stealing money from shops. Now, if these charges you're pressing against Phil Bellamy come under serious investigation, how long do you think they're going to stand up? Nobody's going to benefit in the long run.
There you go.
£5? I thought they got away with 25,000.
Split 10 ways, though. It was a very big gang, you see. And I had to live on something while Jack was inside. Money goes nowhere these days. I'm off back to London. I'm already 2 months behind with the rent on this place. I'm very grateful, though, Vernon, for all your help. So how much do I owe you?
On the house, Edith, love. Let's face it, everything else has been.
I got a call from Harry North just before I left the office.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's dropping the assault charges.
Really? What brought that on, do you think?
I'm sure I can't imagine. He did happen to mention that you'd been round there this afternoon, though.
Did he?
You see, what interests me is how Vince Mitchell got the idea that there were fingerprints on that pistol you found. And according to forensic, it was clean.
Still just as well, eh? Otherwise there may have been a grave miscarriage of justice.
You think you're quite an operator, don't you, Constable?
Just doing me humble best.